Yo. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're just joining us, you better hit that subscribe button right now because what we're about to reveal today is absolutely insane, unprecedented, and honestly might be the biggest bombshell to drop in hip-hop this entire year. We're talking about a situation so wild, so unbelievable, so downright shocking that when I first heard about it, I literally had to sit down and process what I was hearing. Y'all remember King Von, right? The legendary Chicago drill rapper, storytelling genius, and one of the most authentic voices the rap game has ever seen? Well, apparently, someone just hacked into King Von's old iPhone backup. We're talking about messages, conversations, and private exchanges that were never meant to see the light of day. And according to sources that are making waves across the internet right now, the last 50 text messages between Von and Lil Durk have allegedly been leaked. And let me tell you, the content of these messages is about to flip everything you thought you knew about their relationship, their plans, their beef with other artists, and what was really going down behind the scenes before that tragic night in Atlanta. Fans are absolutely losing their minds, the OTF camp is scrambling, and the entire hip-hop community is in complete shock. Are these messages real? How did someone access Von's private data years after his passing? And what do these texts reveal about secrets, betrayals, and plans that never came to fruition? Buckle up, fam, because this is about to get real intense, real controversial, and real emotional. Let's dive in. Alright, so before we get into the actual content of these alleged leaked text messages, we need to talk about how this supposedly happened, because the technical side of this story is just as wild as the messages themselves. According to multiple sources across social media and various hip-hop blogs, a hacker, or group of hackers, allegedly gained access to King Von's iCloud account sometime within the past few weeks. Now, for those who don't know, when you have an iPhone, Apple automatically backs up your data to the cloud if you have that feature enabled. We're talking about photos, videos, messages, contacts, app data. Basically, your entire digital life gets stored on Apple servers. And apparently, Von's iCloud account had been sitting there, dormant since his passing in November 2020, with all of his personal data just existing in the digital ether. Now, here's where things get sketchy and honestly pretty disturbing. This alleged hacker supposedly used some kind of sophisticated phishing technique or exploited a security vulnerability to gain access to Von's account. Some tech experts who've been weighing in on social media are saying that if the account wasn't being actively monitored or if two-factor authentication wasn't properly set up, it could potentially be vulnerable to hacking attempts. Others are speculating that maybe someone close to Von, someone who knew his passwords or had access to his devices, might have been involved in leaking this information. Either way, the fact that someone violated Von's privacy like this, years after his death, is absolutely disgusting and raises serious ethical and legal questions. The alleged leaked messages started circulating on underground forums and private Discord servers about 2 weeks ago, according to internet sleuths who've been tracking this story. At first, people thought it was fake, just another clout-chasing hoax trying to capitalize on Von's name and legacy. But then, more and more screenshots started appearing, and people who were actually close to Von started reacting in ways that suggested there might be some authenticity to these leaks. Some insiders allegedly started panicking, legal teams got involved, and there's been a coordinated effort to scrub these messages from the internet, which, as we all know, is basically impossible once something goes viral. Now, let's get into what these alleged text messages actually say, because this is where things get absolutely explosive. According to the leaked screenshots that have been circulating, and again, we have to emphasize that the authenticity of these messages hasn't been 100% verified. The conversations between Von and Durk from the weeks and days leading up to Von's death reveal some shocking information about their plans, their perspectives on various beefs, and some situations that honestly make you look at everything differently. In one of the alleged early messages from the thread, Von supposedly texted Durk saying something like, "Big bro, I'm telling you, we need to move smarter. The streets are watching everything we do now. We got too much to lose." This message, if real, shows a side of Von that contradicts the fearless, always ready for action persona that many people associated with him. It suggests he was actually thinking about longevity, about being strategic, about the fact that success meant they had more at stake than just street reputation. Durk allegedly responded with something along the lines of, "I hear you, bro. But you know how it is. We can't show weakness. These N***************** think we soft. They gonna try us. We gotta stand on business." This exchange, according to people analyzing these texts, shows the constant tension that successful street rappers face, balancing their past, their reputation, and their authenticity with the business side of the music industry and the desire to avoid trouble. But here's where things get even more intense. In several of the alleged messages, Vaughn supposedly talked about specific people in the industry that he had issues with, and he didn't hold back. One message allegedly said, "Bro, I'm tired of playing politics with these fake industry N*******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************funny, talking behind our backs, acting like he's with us in public but dissing in private. I'm ready to address this S***T. Now, internet detectives have been trying to figure out who Vaughn was talking about, and multiple names have been thrown around. We're talking about other rappers, industry executives, people who were allegedly playing both sides of various beefs. What's particularly shocking is that Vaughn allegedly expressed frustration with people that the public thought he was cool with. There are messages where he supposedly vented about feeling betrayed by people he considered friends, about feeling like certain industry figures were using him for clout while secretly hoping he'd fail. One particularly emotional text allegedly said, "Sometimes I feel like it's me and you against the whole industry, bro. Everybody else just wants to see us crash and burn. But we gonna prove them all wrong. OTF till I die." The messages also allegedly reveal conversations about business moves that never got to happen because of Vaughn's untimely death. Vaughn supposedly texted Durk about wanting to start his own label imprint, about signing young artists from Chicago, about building a legacy beyond just his own music career. He allegedly wrote, "I'm trying to build something that lasts, bro. I want young N**************S from O'Block to have a real path, not just the streets. We can change the narrative." This message, if authentic, shows that Vaughn was thinking long-term, that he had dreams and ambitions beyond just being a rapper, and that his death cut short plans that could have genuinely impacted his community. But perhaps the most controversial part of these alleged leaked messages involves conversations about the beef with various rival camps. According to the screenshots, Vaughn and Durk allegedly had detailed discussions about tensions with specific people, and some of these messages allegedly contain threats, plans for confrontation, and discussions about handling business in various cities. Now, we're not going to repeat the specific details of these alleged messages because they involve serious accusations and could potentially be used in legal contexts. But people online are saying that these texts show just how real and how dangerous these beefs actually were. One message that's gotten massive attention allegedly shows Vaughn telling Durk about a situation where he felt disrespected in another city, and he supposedly said, "Bro, if I run into these NS, it's on site. I don't care where we at. I'm not letting nobody disrespect OTF." Durk allegedly tried to calm him down, responding with something like, "I feel you, but we gotta be smart. We got shows, we got money coming in. Can't let these NS bait us into situations that's gonna F***K up our bag." This exchange, according to people analyzing it, shows that Durk was often the more cautious one, trying to keep Vaughn out of trouble, while Vaughn was more impulsive and driven by street code and pride. What's absolutely heartbreaking is that some of the final messages allegedly exchanged between Vaughn and Durk happened literally days before Vaughn's death in Atlanta. In these messages, Vaughn allegedly told Durk about his plans to go to Atlanta, about wanting to party and celebrate some recent success. Durk allegedly expressed some concern, supposedly texting something like, "Be safe out there, bro. You know Atlanta be wild. Keep your head on a swivel." And Vaughn allegedly responded confidently, "I'm good, bro, got my people with me. Gonna have a good time and be back in a few days. Love you, big bro." Reading these alleged final exchanges, if they're real, is absolutely devastating because it shows just how quickly everything can change. Vaughn thought he was just going out to have a good time, probably never imagining that night would be his last. And Durk's alleged concern in those messages shows he genuinely worried about his little brother's safety, even though neither of them could have predicted what was about to happen. Now, the reaction to these alleged leaked messages has been absolutely insane across social media. King Vaughn's fans are experiencing a whole range of emotions. Sadness at seeing his private thoughts, anger at whoever hacked and leaked his personal information, and fascination with getting this glimpse into who Vaughn really was behind the scenes. Many fans are saying these messages, if real, show that Vaughn was more thoughtful, more strategic, and more emotionally intelligent than people gave him credit for. He wasn't just a street dude who rapped. He was someone thinking about legacy, loyalty, and building something lasting. But there's also major controversy and criticism happening. A lot of people are rightfully pointing out that leaking someone's private messages, especially someone who's deceased and can't defend themselves or provide context, is incredibly disrespectful and unethical. Vaughn's family has reportedly been devastated by this violation of his privacy. His sister posted an emotional message on Instagram saying, "Can y'all please let my brother rest in peace? He's gone, and now y'all are invading his privacy, sharing his personal conversations, and disrespecting his memory for entertainment. This is so wrong on so many levels. Whoever did this, karma is real." Lil Durk himself hasn't directly addressed the leaked messages yet, but sources close to him say he's absolutely furious about this situation. Allegedly, Durk's legal team is working overtime trying to identify who's responsible for the hack and exploring legal options for getting the content removed from the internet and holding people accountable. One source close to Durk allegedly told a hip-hop blog, "Durk is heartbroken that his private conversations with his brother are being shared with the world. Those were personal moments between them, and now everyone's dissecting and judging their relationship based on incomplete context. It's messed up." The OTF camp as a whole has been pretty tight-lipped about the specific content of the messages, which some people interpret as confirmation that the leaks might be authentic. If the messages were completely fake, you'd expect them to come out strongly denying everything and calling it fabricated. But the careful, measured response, or lack of detailed response, suggests they're taking this seriously and probably consulting with legal and PR teams about how to handle it. Now, let's talk about the legal implications of this alleged hack, because they're significant. Accessing someone's iCloud account without authorization is a federal crime under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. We're talking about serious felony charges that could result in years in prison if the perpetrator is caught. Additionally, depending on what's in those messages and how they're being used, there could be issues related to defamation, privacy violations, and even potential complications for ongoing legal cases if any of the message content relates to criminal matters. Apple, when reached for comment by tech publications, gave a generic statement about taking user privacy and security seriously and investigating any potential breaches of their systems. But they didn't confirm or deny whether Vaughn's account was actually compromised. Privacy advocates and tech security experts have been using the situation to remind people about the importance of securing their accounts with strong passwords and two-factor authentication, and about making sure family members can properly secure or close accounts of deceased loved ones. There's also a conversation happening about digital legacy and what happens to our online presence after we die. Vaughn's situation highlights how vulnerable our digital information can be even after we're gone. His family is likely dealing with the legal complexities of controlling his digital estate, and this hack has made that situation even more complicated. Some legal experts are saying this case might lead to new legislation or policies about protecting the digital assets and privacy of deceased individuals. But let's get back to the content of these messages, because there's more that allegedly got revealed. According to people who claim to have seen the full thread of 50 messages, there were also conversations about Vaughn's personal life, his relationships, and his mental health that make him seem incredibly human and vulnerable. One alleged message shows Vaughn opening up to Durk about struggling with anxiety and paranoia, supposedly saying, "Bro, sometimes I can't sleep at night. I keep thinking someone's gonna try to get me. I know it sounds paranoid, but this S***T is real. I got so many enemies." Durk allegedly responded with encouragement and advice, trying to reassure Vaughn while also acknowledging the reality of their situation. He supposedly told Vaughn to stay prayed up, to keep trusted people around him, and to remember that God had his back. These exchanges, if real, show a deep brotherly bond between them, with Durk serving as both a mentor and a protector figure for Vaughn. It makes Vaughn's eventual death even more tragic because it confirms that his fears weren't just paranoia. They were legitimate concerns based on real threats. The messages also allegedly contain discussions about Vaughn's love life and his relationships with various women in the industry. According to the leaks, Vaughn supposedly vented to Durk about relationship drama, about not knowing who to trust romantically, and about feeling like women were attracted to his fame and money rather than who he really was. One message allegedly said, "These females be playing games, bro. I can't tell who really loves me or who just loves the lifestyle. Sometimes I just want something real, you know?" This vulnerable side of Vaughn, worried about love, authenticity, and genuine connection, is something fans rarely got to see, and it humanizes him beyond his tough, street image. Now, some skeptics are questioning the authenticity of these alleged messages, and they raise some valid points. First off, screenshots can be faked relatively easily using various apps and tools. Without seeing the actual messages in Vaughn's real iCloud account or having Apple confirm the breach, there's no way to be 100% certain these are legitimate. Second, the timing is suspicious. Why would this hack happen now, years after Vaughn's death? Some people think it might be part of a larger scheme to generate controversy, sell the information, or damage certain people's reputations. Third, some of the language in the alleged messages seems almost too perfectly dramatic, like someone wrote them specifically to create controversy and headlines. Experienced readers of authentic text conversations notice that real texts often have typos, abbreviations, incomplete thoughts, and casual language that doesn't always translate well to public consumption. Some of these leaked messages allegedly read very clearly and dramatically, which raises suspicions about their authenticity. However, defenders of the leak's authenticity point to specific details that would be hard to fake. References to specific events that weren't public knowledge at the time, mentions of people using nicknames that only close associates would know, and timestamps that align with known events in Vaughn's timeline. Some people who knew Vaughn personally have allegedly said, off the record, that the tone and language in some of the messages does sound like how he actually texted, which lends some credibility to the leaks. The hip-hop media has been in an ethical dilemma about how to cover this story. Major platforms are being careful about sharing the actual content of the messages because of privacy concerns and the potential legal issues. But smaller blogs, social media accounts, and YouTube channels have been going all in, creating detailed breakdowns, reading the messages aloud, and speculating about every word and implication. This has created a situation where the information is widely available if you know where to look, but it's not being legitimized by mainstream coverage. Several prominent voices in hip-hop have spoken out against the sharing of these alleged messages. J. Cole, who was friendly with Vaughn, allegedly posted on Twitter, "Let that man rest. His conversations were private for a reason. Y'all don't need to know everything. Show some respect." Chance the Rapper, another Chicago artist, supposedly said, "This is why people in our community have trust issues. We can't even have private moments without someone trying to exploit them for clicks and views. Do better." Their perspectives represent a growing sentiment that hip-hop culture needs to have better boundaries about what's acceptable to share and what should remain private. But on the other side of the debate, some people argue that Vaughn was a public figure and that his communications, especially if they reveal information about beefs, threats, or situations that led to violence, are legitimately in the public interest. They argue that understanding what was really happening behind the scenes could provide context for various events, could potentially help with ongoing investigations, and gives fans a fuller picture of who Vaughn really was. This argument essentially says that once you're a public figure, your expectation of privacy is reduced, even after death. There's also speculation about who might be behind the hack. Some theories suggest it could be someone from a rival camp trying to dig up dirt or create division within OTF. Others think it might be a rogue hacker with no connection to the hip-hop world, just someone who saw an opportunity to access a famous person's data and potentially sell it or gain notoriety. There's even theories that someone close to Vaughn, maybe someone who felt wronged or left out of his will and estate, might have been involved in accessing and leaking this information. The financial aspect of this leak is also interesting. Allegedly, before the messages went fully public, someone was trying to sell the complete iCloud backup on the dark web for a significant amount of money. We're talking potentially 6 figures. Some wealthy fans, content creators, or media outlets might have been tempted to purchase this information for exclusive content. But once it started leaking for free on various platforms, the market for selling it collapsed. Still, this raises questions about the economy of leaked celebrity information and how much people are willing to pay for unauthorized access to private data. From a cybersecurity perspective, this alleged hack is a reminder of how vulnerable we all are in the digital age. Even with Apple's generally strong security measures, accounts can be compromised through various methods: phishing, social engineering, weak passwords, lack of two-factor authentication, or even insider threats from people with access to systems. Vaughn's family is now dealing with the consequences of not having properly secured his digital legacy immediately after his passing, which is something most grieving families don't even think about in the moment but becomes important later. Let's also talk about specific messages that allegedly reference other artists and industry figures, because this is where things get really messy. According to people who claim to have seen the full leaks, Vaughn supposedly had conversations with Durk about specific rappers who he felt were being fake or two-faced. Names have been mentioned online, though we're not going to repeat them without confirmation, of artists who Vaughn allegedly felt were friendly in person but were secretly hoping OTF would fail or were aligned with rival camps. One particularly spicy alleged message supposedly has Vaughn telling Durk about a situation at an industry event where a certain well-known rapper allegedly acted friendly to Vaughn's face but was apparently talking negatively about him to others at the same event. Vaughn allegedly found out about this and was livid, texting Durk something like, "Bro, these industry N********s are so fake. Name. Was just smiling in my face an hour ago, and I just heard he was in the bathroom talking S******T about me to other name. I swear, this industry full of snakes." If this message is real and the names eventually get confirmed, it could reignite or create new beefs within the hip-hop community. There were also allegedly messages about Vaughn's creative process and upcoming projects. He supposedly texted Durk about songs he was working on, concepts for music videos, and collaborations he wanted to make happen. One alleged message said, "Bro, I just recorded the hardest verse I ever wrote. When this drops, it's gonna shut the whole game down. I'm talking Grammy nomination level S*****T. Reading this is bittersweet because we know Vaughn had so much more music to create, so many more stories to tell, and these messages allegedly confirm that he was just hitting his creative stride when his life was cut short. The alleged messages also supposedly contain discussions about Vaughn's children and his desire to be a good father despite his street lifestyle. One emotional text allegedly has Vaughn telling Durk, "I want my kids to be proud of me, bro. Not just for the music and the money, but for being a man who stood on principle and took care of his family. I don't want them growing up without me like I grew up without my pops." This message, if authentic, shows Vaughn's awareness of his own mortality and his desire to leave a positive legacy for his children, which makes his death even more tragic. Now, there's been some discussion about whether these alleged messages could impact any ongoing legal cases or investigations. If the messages contain discussions about criminal activity, threats, or plans for violence, they could potentially be subpoenaed by law enforcement as evidence in various cases. Legal experts say that even though Vaughn is deceased, communications involving him could still be relevant to cases involving other people. This is another reason why Durk's legal team is probably very concerned about these leaks, not just for privacy reasons, but because of potential legal implications. The emotional toll this is taking on Vaughn's loved ones cannot be overstated. Imagine grieving someone you love, trying to move forward with life, and then years later having their most private thoughts and conversations exposed to the world. Vaughn's mother, his siblings, his children's mothers, and his close friends are all having to relive his loss while also dealing with the invasion of privacy. Several family members have posted messages asking people to stop sharing the leaked content, saying things like, "Y'all are hurting us all over again. Please let him rest. He deserves privacy even in death." Asian Doll, Vaughn's ex-girlfriend who's been very vocal about his legacy, posted a long emotional rant about the situation. She allegedly said, "Y'all are disgusting for sharing Vaughn's private messages. He can't defend himself, he can't give context, and y'all are just consuming his personal life like it's entertainment. This is somebody's son, somebody's father, somebody's friend. Have some respect." Her response echoes what many people in Vaughn's inner circle are feeling: violated, angry, and heartbroken. The situation has also sparked broader conversations about how we treat deceased artists and their legacies. There's a pattern in hip-hop where artists who die young often have their personal lives dissected and exploited after death. Unauthorized documentaries, books, leaked content, people claiming to speak for them or represent their wishes. Vaughn's situation is the latest example of this trend, and it's making people question whether the culture needs better standards and protections for preserving artists' dignity after they're gone. Some fans have created online campaigns trying to get the leaked content removed from platforms and asking people to boycott anyone profiting from sharing the messages. Hashtags like #ProtectVaughnsLegacy and #LetVaughnRest have been trending, with thousands of fans expressing that while they're curious about the content, they recognize that sharing it is morally wrong. This shows a level of consciousness and respect within the fanbase that's actually pretty encouraging. On the flip side, the reality is that once information is on the internet, it's basically impossible to completely erase. The leaked messages have been screenshot, saved, re-uploaded, and shared across countless platforms. Even if the original sources are taken down, copies exist everywhere. This is the harsh reality of the digital age. Privacy, once violated, can't really be restored. The best the family and legal team can hope for is limiting further spread and holding the original perpetrators accountable. Tech companies and platforms have varying policies about content like this. Some platforms have rules against sharing hacked or leaked private content, while others take a more hands-off approach, citing free speech and news value. This inconsistency makes it difficult to control the spread of information like these alleged text messages. Some platforms might remove the content if requested by Vaughn's estate, while others might allow it to remain accessible. There's also been discussion among Vaughn's fans about whether the content of these messages, if authentic, changes anything about how they view him or his legacy. Most fans seem to feel that the messages, rather than damaging his image, actually make them respect and miss him even more. Seeing his vulnerability, his ambitions, his loyalty to Durk and OTF, and his awareness of the dangers he faced makes him seem more human and relatable. The messages allegedly show someone who was complex, thoughtful, strategic, and genuinely trying to navigate a difficult situation while staying true to his roots. However, there are some alleged messages that supposedly show Vaughn discussing plans for retaliation or violence that could potentially complicate how some people view his legacy. If messages exist where he's explicitly talking about intending to harm others or planning confrontations, that could be used by critics who want to paint him as simply a violent figure rather than the multi-dimensional artist his fans know him to be. Context is everything with texts like this. Street culture, the constant threats he faced, and the pressure to maintain reputation all factor into understanding why he might have said certain things. The investigative side of this story is also developing. Apparently, there are independent cybersecurity experts and tech journalists trying to verify whether the hack actually occurred and trace the source. If they can confirm that Vaughn's iCloud was legitimately breached, that could lead to identifying the hacker and potentially criminal charges. Apple has been notoriously protective of user privacy and security, so if one of their systems was compromised, they'll want to demonstrate that they take it seriously and that perpetrators will be held accountable. Meanwhile, content creators across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram have been making bank off this controversy. Videos breaking down the alleged messages are getting millions of views, reaction videos are flooding timelines, and everyone's trying to get their hot take out there for engagement. This raises ethical questions about whether content creators should be profiting off leaked private information from a deceased artist, even if they're just reporting on publicly available information at this point. Some of Vaughn's collaborators and fellow artists have been sharing their memories and stories in response to these leaks, almost as a way of countering the invasion of privacy with authentic, authorized recollections. They're posting about recording sessions with Vaughn, conversations they had, and what he meant to them, trying to control the narrative around his legacy rather than letting leaked messages define how people remember him. This shows the power of community in protecting an artist's memory. There's also speculation about whether more content might leak in the future. If the hacker really did access Vaughn's full iCloud backup, text messages are just the tip of the iceberg. There could potentially be photos, videos, voice memos, notes, and other content that hasn't been released yet. This uncertainty is probably keeping Vaughn's family and legal team on edge, not knowing what might surface next and having to be in constant crisis management mode. Alright fam, so there you have it. The complete breakdown of this absolutely wild situation involving King Vaughn's allegedly hacked iCloud account and the leaked text messages between him and Lil Durk that have the entire hip-hop world in shock. Now, before we wrap this up, we need to be very clear about something. The authenticity of these messages hasn't been 100% verified by any official source. We don't know for certain if they're real or if this is an elaborate hoax. What we do know is that Vaughn's family is devastated, his fans are conflicted, and this situation has opened up important conversations about privacy, respect, and how we treat our deceased artists and their legacies. Whether these messages are real or fake, one thing remains true. King Vaughn was a talented, complex, and deeply loved individual whose impact on hip-hop continues to be felt years after his passing. His music tells his story better than any leaked text message ever could. His legacy lives on through the artists he influenced, the fans who still bump his tracks daily, and the memories of those who knew and loved him. This violation of his privacy, if that's what this is, doesn't change the fact that he was a generational talent who left us way too soon. As a community, we need to do better about respecting boundaries and understanding that just because we can access certain information doesn't mean we should. Vaughn's private conversations with Durk were never meant for public consumption, and regardless of how curious we might be, we should consider what his family is going through every time we click, share, or comment on content related to these leaks. Now it's your turn to weigh in, and we want to hear all perspectives on this. Do you think these alleged text messages are authentic or completely fabricated? Should people stop sharing the content out of respect for Vaughn's memory and his family's wishes? Or do you believe that as a public figure, Vaughn's communications are fair game for public discussion? What do you think should happen to whoever hacked his account if they're caught? And how do you think this situation affects Vaughn's legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Keep it respectful because this is a sensitive topic involving a beloved artist who can't speak for himself. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and smash that like button to let us know you appreciate these deep dives into the most controversial stories in hip-hop. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss when we drop content like this. We're out here bringing you the stories that everyone's talking about, with the context and analysis you won't find anywhere else. Share this video with your friends who need to know about this developing situation, but also remind them to be respectful about how they engage with this content. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, where we post updates, engage with y'all in the comments, and keep the conversation going between uploads. And remember, fam, at the end of the day, King Vaughn's music and genuine impact on hip-hop culture is what should define his legacy, not leaked messages or invasions of privacy. Long live King Vaughn, OTF forever, and let's hope his family finds peace during this difficult time. Until next time, stay blessed, stay informed, and always show respect to those who came before us and paved the way.